and that's it. His field is completely useless. And we have a bunch of cards, and he surrendered 2. And that's it, 3 win streak. I Borreload Savage Dragon. And with Borreload Savage Dragon, I gained 1 counter, and he surrendered. But I didn't even summon my 5-feet dragon. And his deck is as good as done. And he surrendered 2. Hi guys, this is Larion, and I make a third and maybe a final video about my Borreload Rokket Dragon deck profile. And in this video I will feature my best and almost unbeatable duel strategies with my Borreload Rokket deck. My past 2 videos reached more views than I ever dreamed of. This channel will see so many views in such a short time. I haven't got this many attention since I finished my Yu-Gi-Oh! Real Life series. So I am very glad that you people are staying around, and let's not waste the time, let me show you how to use this Borreload Rokket deck I just introduced you in the past couple of days. As I told you, if you follow me in here, you can see my duel replays. They are all public. And let's show you this one. This one is very funny. And while the duel is going, I will explain how to do these moves and tactics, and it will be better to understand the mechanic of this Rokket deck. So I started the game, and I didn't have my best hand, but I had some good backups for like Dragon Mirror, Raigeki, Boot Sector. I summoned Boot Sector Launch, and as you can see, I wasn't able to summon any Borreload Dragon just yet, but thanks to Shellrokket Dragon, I had 2 monsters defending the field, and since one of them was summoned with Quick Launch, I had already have 1 Rokket Dragon in the deck and 2 other in the field. And with Dragon's Mirror, I only needed 5 to summon 5-feet dragon. My opponent started to build his deck, his board, and it's funny because he spent a lot of time to build his board. It was a 6 samurai-esque, I don't know, some warrior deck, but it had some of the more common Nightmare and late meta cards. Waboku. This card was important later, so when your opponent wants to destroy your Waboku, I recommend to activate it. And this was his ace monster, this Accescode Talker. And with his 6 samurai, he completely destroyed my field. As you can see, I have nothing left. And but he also sacrificed his own field. This was a grave mistake for him. And he apparently forgot that I have a Waboku. I activated a Waboku in this turn, because he couldn't do any harm in me. And here is how I started to build my board. Since 2 of my Rokket Dragons was destroyed in the previous turn, I was able to summon 2 to the field. And I only needed 2 level 4 monsters, because my idea was that I will either summon a Savage Dragon or Dark Rebellion Axis Dragon, or if possible both. Then I got a lucky draw, Skip Draw, and with Skip Draw we can do this really good combo. With Skip Draw we destroy one of our Rokket Dragons, then we chain activate Rokket Tracer's effect. And so we will not only able to summon another Rokket Dragon, but since the effect of Skip Draw also activates, we will be able to bring 2 new cards to our hands. And as you can see, my first tactic worked. I was able to summon Dark Rebellion Axis Dragon, and not only weaken his Accescode attacker, but gain a lot of attack points to mine. Then I activated my Raigeki to clear his field. Summon Striker Dragon, and with Striker Dragon I bring back, I fetched a Boot Sector Launch. And now I had two Rokket cards in my hand, the Rokket Tracer, and I brought back the Silverrokket Dragon. And now I was able to summon my Borreload Savage Dragon. And with Borreload Savage Dragon I gained one counter and he surrendered. But I didn't even summon my 5-ED Dragon. But since I had a lot of dragons in my graveyard, I could summon 5-ED Dragon and do as an OTK. And you were able to see that he spent a lot of time to build his board. Then with a simple Raigeki and with a simple comeback, I was able to turn a batch. So this was my first replay video. It was my opponent who started the game. No, it was a R.L.D.S deck, sorry. And it will be really interesting because he built a very strong board in his first turn with a lot of negate. You probably heard of Herald of Protection. This can negate spell and trap cards, and I didn't know that. I tried to build my field with my fields with Striker Dragon to bring up my Boot Sector Launch. But not only he negated it, but he was able to negate my Boot Sector Launch with Herald of Protection. With Herald of Protection. Perfection, sorry. And so it was his turn, and I had nothing in the field but a Fiendish Chain. And he started to build his field. And I was completely defenseless. All I was able to do that activate Fiendish Chain. So in the next turn I would be able to negate Herald of Protection effect to negate my field, my spell cards. I will speed this up. So you can see he did his Xyz monster. He ritual summoned the 400 attack points and he almost completely wiped me out. I was left with 1015 and 500 life points, and he had a full of field, and I really had nothing, not a single Boot Sector Launch, nothing. And I had this Harpie Featherstone, but it was only his field spell what I was able to destroy. So it wasn't such a weak help as a Raigeki would. And I was unable to summon back from the graveyard with other effects. So I had to start from scratch. With Striker Dragon, then a Boot Sector Launch. With Boot Sector Launch I brought back the Silverrokket Dragon and another one. And the good thing is that with Boot Sector Launch, second effect, you can summon from the graveyard Rokket monsters up to the difference. And that's why I was able to summon more than if I would summon from my hand. And the reason why I summoned Borreload Dragon is very important. Because this card was unable to target with card effects. In previously I tried to destroy him with Borreload Dragon, but I couldn't do it. So it was so I had to think about it that if I would summon Borreload Dragon, Borreload Dragon, I couldn't weaken him or something. So I have to rely on Borreload Sword effect. You will see why. Borreload Sword's effect, it doesn't target, so by not targeting my opponent, he was able to gain Dryrtron's attack point and destroy it. And since I activated this effect, I was able to attack twice. But it was still a very exciting turn, because I still got with only my Borreload Dragon. and it's not defended by any monster effects, but he didn't get a lucky draw. Quick launch, and once you get Rokket Dragons with the Borreload Dragon on the field, you are pretty much saved. Borreload Savage Dragon, and this is the combo where you can lay back and chill, because once you got Borreload Savage Dragon on the field with some counters and the Borreload or Borrelguard Dragon, you are pretty fine. You will see he will try to activate his card's effect, but I will negate it with Borreload Savage Dragon. And his deck is as good as done. And he surrendered 2. So this is 2 win with 2 very different deck. My opponent was in the upper hand and I had to turn the duel. And last but not least, let me show you an Invoked duelist. This is the regular board building. I had a lot of Rokket Dragons, so it's not that interesting. Pretty simple. Always use Rokket Tracer to destroy your Rokket Dragons, so you will have one in the graveyard and you will get another one at the end of the turn. What Borreload Dragon? By the end of the turn I summoned back Anesthrokket Dragon, and I had a Fiendish Chain on the field. He summoned... And yes, this is what I wanted to show you. Shadoll Construct is a very strong opponent for Rokket and Borrel cards, because it can destroy special summon monsters and it doesn't negate. And it's very important because Borreload Dragon is only immune against targeting, but this card doesn't target. So be aware of Shadoll Construct with Shadoll Construct. But luckily I had a Fiendish Chain and his Shadoll Construct was now useless. But it didn't stop him to start to summon his Invoked cards. He was rapidly built at his field. That's invocation. We got the engine. Don't panic. Okay, we lost our dragon, but with Boot Sector Launch, since he had a bunch of monsters on the field, we could summon back from the graveyard the difference. And we had 4 cards, and I did my usual method to destroy one Rokket card to get one another, but he banished it. No problem, I still had 4. And I fusion summoned Borreload Dragon. He tried to save his Shadoll Construct, so in the next turn he could have flip summoned it, and he will be probably unaffected by Fiendish Chain by then, and he could have destroyed my Borreload Dragon. But I realized it was his strategy. So I grabbed his Shadoll Constructed Borreload Dragon and put it on my side on the field. But as you can see, he still had more cards than I did. He tried to negate my Boot Sector Launch, but I just draw another. There's a lucky draw. And since he already had 5 cards, he got 5 cards on the board, so I was able to summon like 4. And once you have a Borreload and Rokket cards, you are good to go. But you are better with a Savage Dragon, because with Savage Dragon you can start negating your opponents. But don't worry if it's got destroyed. Because with Borreload and with an Anesthrokket Dragon, you can negate one card. Always read the effects of this card with Anesthrokket and Autorokket and Magnarokket and Metalrokket, because they are good for certain scenarios. I purposely destroyed one of his set cards because if there are some flip summon cards, we are screwed. Turn change. Okay, it was negated. And another Borreload Dragon. That's why we have two in our decks with 2 counter. And this is it. Up to the difference, I was able again to summon Rokket cards with Borreload. I bullet them off from the field. If they try to activate any effect, just negate it with Savage Dragon. And it's as simple as that. With Borreload you can get his cards, and that's it. His field is completely useless, and we have a bunch of cards, and he surrendered 2. And that's it. It's a win streak, 3 win streak, and in all of the 3 times we were on the losing side, and with this deck you can always turn the tides. So watch my previous videos, and I think this was the master course for budget but unstoppable Rokket Dragon deck. Goodbye, duelists.